Welcome to Intuitive Transformations with your host, Sylvia Henderson, and discover tools, wisdom, and inspiration that will empower you to transform your life. Sylvia is an intuitive life coach and energy healer with a growing practice that is focused on empowering others to be more of who they want to be. For the next hour, join Sylvia and explore and unravel anything in the way of you creating the life that you would love to live on the OMTimes Radio Network.
Hello, and welcome to the Intuitive Transformations radio show on OMTimes Radio, the voice of consciousness. Here you will find tools you can use to transform your life. I'm Sylvia Henderson, your host, here on IOM FM every Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The purpose of this show is to connect with you, share valuable information, insights, and resources, and to inspire you to expand into more of who you truly are so that you can step boldly into more of what you love and desire to receive in your life. For those of you tuning in for the very first time, as the intro stated, I am an intuitive life coach and I am an energy healer. I basically help people change their lives from the inside out. Now, I know that the title energy healer can be a little confusing, and that's primarily because there are about 1,001 ideas and concepts that just pop into the mind when one hears the words energy healer. Everywhere from a shaman to an acupuncturist and everything in between, including what I do. So what is energy healing exactly? Energy healing, from my point of view, is that no one's energy is actually sick. However, with that said, energy can be out of balance. So when an acupuncturist inserts a needle into someone, it is with a very specific intention to either increase the flow of energy or chi within that individual, or within actually even the meridian, the Chinese meridian where they are inserting the needles, or it's to, if the energy or chi is stagnant, it's to slow down the flow or chi or energy within an individual. Either way, the intention is to balance the energy within their patients. So everyone has a specialty when it comes to energy healing. As I mentioned, there are some people that do shamanic work, and then there are people who do cranial sacral, and there are people who do Reiki, and there are people that will look at your auric field and they can see energy and they'll do some kind of a cleansing around that. On the other hand, there's people like me who I just kind of work with people on a very deep core belief system basis. So I use my intuition to allow me to see what is the underlying root cause that's creating obstacles or limitations or resistance or blocks within your life. And then once those are illuminated, we're able to clear those together. So it's a very powerful work. It's a very effective work. And I just absolutely love doing it because of how it's helped people tremendously in their own life, getting them out of stress, releasing limiting belief systems about themselves, about life, about their experiences, letting go of their judgments. And it's just something I practice within my own self. So I really do practice what I preach. The same tools I use with my clients, I use with myself when necessary. So if you're ready to experience positive change in your life, just contact me for a complimentary 15-minute consultation, or you can book a private session as well if you'd like. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. For more information on what I do, please visit my website at intuitivetransformations.net. That's intuitivetransformations.net. You might just experience the change that you've been looking for. I hope everyone is really having a wonderful Sunday evening and has enjoyed a fantastic weekend. I know here in the States, a lot of people are enjoying a 3-day weekend. So this is a time to get together with family and go on picnics and all of that if the weather is permitting. We're celebrating our 3-day Memorial Day weekend. And one of the things we're going to be talking about today is about how to receive. The art of receiving is the topic for today's show. And I want you to know this is not going to be your typical talk show format. I'm not just going to sit here and give you a bunch of information. I'm going to actually give you some tools. So I want you to grab some paper, a pen, pencil, something to write with, because you're going to want to take notes. Today is actually, in some ways, kind of more of a workshop format, and I'm going to offer you the opportunity here to create some real change in your life that will hopefully open up possibilities for you to receive more of what you desire in your life. So, again, please be sure to grab some paper, a pen, pencil. You can even start taking notes on your computer, whatever is going to be most comfortable for you. Because, again, this is going to be an experiential kind of show. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions. You're going to want to write some of these questions down so that you can use some time on your own to really sit and contemplate them and see what comes up for you. Because as I'll explain a little bit later, we truly are in a ask and receive universe, and the power of questions is incredibly transformative. I'm excited to talk about this topic, the art of receiving, because I'm having so much fun playing with the energy of receiving. And I'm excited to share this lovely energy that is our birthright with you and how to tap into that more fully. One of the great things about our universe is that there are certain dynamic laws and truths that are fairly predictable. They're consistently active, and they're things we can't deny. Like, for instance, the law of gravity, right? The law of gravity is one of those things that we just can't deny. It's a truth, and it's a law. It can't be broken. What goes up must come down, which is how we manage to stay attached to the surface of our beautiful planet that literally spins around and around on its axis at 1,040.4 miles, literally, per hour. We are spinning around on the axis. I can't even say that word, but anyway, it's AXIS. I hope you know what I'm talking about. But we're spinning around every hour over 1,000 miles at a time. That's pretty spectacular. So we really should be very grateful that we have this magnetic pull of the south and north poles that surround the planet that keeps everything on the surface attached to the surface so that we don't go flying off into space. So that's a universal law, the law of gravity on our planet. I should say it's a planetary law because some planets have different forms of gravity versus what we have here on Earth. And another thing I want to speak about is that there is a spiritual principle of asking and receiving. Even the Bible says that you have not because you ask not, because there is a law about asking and receiving. So asking is an integral action step that we have to execute if we'd like to fully participate in the art of receiving. You don't get what you don't ask for, right? It is kind of humorous to me because I've had some opportunities and people will ask me, they'll ask me, how is it that opportunity came to you? And I said, well, I made a request. And I asked this individual if I could do X, Y, Z, and they said yes. And quite often what we do, we get a little bit resistant to asking because we have a history as children being told, no, you can't have that. And we've gotten apathetic about it a little bit. And so we don't really exercise this amazing tool of just simply making a request. in order to receive what we'd like. So asking can come in the form of a prayer, an intention, or just pondering a question that will allow a problem to be resolved. The key to remember here is that we live in an ask and receive universe. And if we don't consciously ask, then we're not going to consciously receive what it is that we're looking for and desire. So here's the interesting thing about asking. Asking is not necessarily verbal. Actually, asking is vibrational. So consider this. You're looking at the still, smooth surface of a small pond, and you drop a pebble into the center of that pond, right? What happens? Ripples begin to form and move outward along the surface of the water, away from where you dropped that pebble. Once those ripples hit the edges of the pond, they begin to ripple back and return toward the direction of where the pebble was dropped, right? Every time we have a thought, we drop a pebble into the pond of the universe, sending out a vibrational ripple. Many of our thoughts cancel out each other because some are positive and some are negative. And if you're thinking mostly negative thoughts, you're probably experiencing mostly negative results. Conversely, if you're thinking mostly positive thoughts, you are probably experiencing mostly positive results. If you are sending out about an equal amount of negative thoughts and positive thoughts, you're probably experiencing a little bit of both. Just like the law of gravity, though, this process never ever turns off. So we are always sending out this vibrational ripple, so to speak. So we're going to go into a break in just a moment. Actually, we're going into a break right now. So hold that thought. When we return, I'm going to talk about another universal law that we have working in our favor. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences, to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Welcome to the gathering around my kitchen table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Hello and welcome back. This is Sylvia Henderson on Intuitive Transformations radio show on IOM FM. And before we went into the break, as you know, we are talking about the art of receiving today. And I was just sharing that there are several universal laws that are consistently active and that cannot be denied, such as the law of gravity, the principle of asking and receiving. And there's another one I want to talk about now, which is the principle of cause and effect. And cause and effect, I'm sure you've heard about this as kind of a general rule. So this explains that there is a cause for every effect and an effect for every cause. So here's another little insight into the cause and effect principle. It also states that there is no such thing as chance. Did you know that? There's no such thing as luck, really. And you might be thinking, well, I don't know about that. I know some pretty lucky people. And I have to tell you, I would have to agree with you. There are people that appear to be very lucky. But according to the law or principle of cause and effect, there is no such thing as chance. That actually chance is merely a term that indicates an event or experience which was previously already set in motion and has remained in motion until the effect was received. So the reason it appears to be by chance is because it was not recognized or perceived as being associated or related to the initial cause that set it all in motion. And you might be thinking, well, what does this have to do with receiving? Well, I think you're going to find out in just a little bit. So even if something looks like something was by chance or lucky, there was a specific cause that was activated and that remained in continuous activation until the effect was finally achieved. When you look at what you experience in your life, what do you think creates certain outcomes for you? Well, guess what? Creates certain outcomes from you. You do. You are the cause. You are absolutely the cause. You are not the effect. You are the cause. You are the one connected always with divine consciousness or God, always creating your experiences and your reality, and always sending out vibrations of thoughts, just like dropping a pebble into a pond with a smooth surface where the ripples ripple out and then when they ripple back. The concept of creating your own reality is not just a spiritual concept. This is a psychological principle as well. Now, I'm not a psychologist, but I have to say that one of the gifts of being a parent of two autistic sons is that I got to closely work with a variety of psychologists, specifically behaviorists. And having two autistic sons forced me to take the time to learn how to understand some of the basic premises behind why we do things, what drives human behavior. What I discovered is that human behavior is primarily a process of cause and effect. We are by nature creatures of habit. We run the same programs over and over again, and then we wonder why things don't change for us. And we do this not just on a conscious level, but also because on a deep subconscious level, we believe that if we do things a certain way, we will consistently receive certain things as a result. Thus, the concept of cause and effect. Now, if you take a look at the science of cognitive behavior, and that's really like what is driving behavior from a thinking process, you will find that one of the underlying principles is that beliefs create thoughts, thoughts create actions, actions create results, and results create or they reinforce beliefs. And then the circle starts all over again with beliefs creating thoughts, thoughts creating actions, actions creating results, results reinforcing beliefs, and then it's a rinse and repeat cycle going over and over again. And it becomes a cycle of cause and effects experiences. Now, if you have a positive belief about receiving something, for instance, since that's what we're talking about, then guess what? If you have positive beliefs about what it means to receive from others, your positive beliefs are going to create positive thoughts about receiving. And those positive thoughts about receiving are going to create positive actions to create receiving. And those positive actions are going to create positive results that make you feel good about your receiving, which then will reinforce your positive beliefs about receiving. So here's the flip side of that coin. If you have negative beliefs about receiving, then guess what? You are going to create negative thoughts that will create negative actions, that will create negative results, which will then reinforce your negative beliefs about receiving. And when I'm using the words positive and negative, what I really mean is positive is what you highly prefer, negative is what you would rather not receive or experience. So now I'm sure you might be thinking, okay, Sylvia, who in their right mind would not want to receive, especially if it's something good and positive? That just doesn't make sense, right? It's illogical. Yet, we do it all the time. Let me ask you a couple of questions, and I want you to really think about your answers. Have you ever been given a glowing compliment? Somebody really praised you highly, said you were amazing, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're handsome, you're brilliant, you're stunning, and then you downplayed it because you felt uncomfortable receiving all of those accolades? Have you ever had someone offer to pay for your meal and then adamantly refuse their offer? Do you tend to say no thank you when someone offers to do something for you for free? If you can answer yes to any of those three questions, then you have some negative beliefs when it comes to receiving. Now, these beliefs may be subconscious, beneath the surface, or you may even consciously have a mindset that people will think more highly of you if you politely refuse and say no thank you. They'll think that, that you're a good person, that you are self-assured, self-reliant, yada, yada, rather than accepting someone's offer and just simply saying, yes, thank you for that. It's truly a mixed bag when it comes to how we feel about receiving from others, because actually, who hasn't been taught that it's far better to give than it is to receive? And actually, it's true. It feels pretty doggone good when you can give to someone and change their life and do something wonderful for them, and they so appreciate it and they so receive it. And you know that you're contributing to them from an open heart, out of the goodness of who you are. But when the giving becomes out of balance with your receiving, what happens is you start to feel depleted, and then resentment begins to seep in. And then when you continue to deny yourself the pleasure of receiving from others, you become resistant to giving, or angry and frustrated. And so when you think about it, if you've set an intention to receive something good in your life and you're refusing something as simple as a compliment, what kind of message are you sending out into the universe? It's a little confusing, isn't it? Kind of like a yes, but no energy going on there. This really does slow down the process of creating the life you want to experience, and keeps you stuck where you'd rather not be, and stops awesome opportunities from coming your way, because you're sending out this vibrational signal of, nope, 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 I got this, I can do it myself, I don't need your help, person who is probably sent there and put in your life by life and the universe and God to contribute to you and to give to you and start to open the door of your ability to receiving, but you're refusing it. When I noticed I was doing this myself, because there's volumes of information out there that's being taught on how unlimited and abundant the universe is and how we can have it all and how we can be it all and how we can do it all and whatever we want. Yet people were still struggling in their personal lives. And I was struggling in some areas of my personal life. And for the most part, a lot of people were not happy about the areas that they were struggling in. And when I realized this, I began to ask some questions of myself because I knew, or even the universe, I should say, it was even something, my higher self, something beyond my cognitive training and understanding of how life worked. I began to ask questions like, not why is this happening to me, but how can I make this different? Because I knew that asking questions, when you ask a question, you actually activate not only our finite mind and reasoning, but also we access the infinite mind of divine consciousness, that which is greater and goes beyond what we cognitively are aware of. And so for every question, I knew that there was an answer. And when a question is launched into consciousness, I knew eventually the answer had to appear. And this is just one of the ways that you can use the principle of cause and effect to your greater advantage instead of to your disadvantage. And we're going to continue this conversation because we're going to head into a break in just a few moments. But I really want to ask you to think about, are you really receiving all that you could possibly receive? Or are you saying no thank you to the opportunities that come your way, thinking that you might be judged for just receiving? I want you to stay tuned. We're heading into a break. We'll be back in a few minutes, and when we do, I'll be continuing this conversation about how you can open yourself up to the art of receiving.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
Radio Namaste leads you down the yellow brick road into portals of consciousness with the blue-collar goddess as your host. Interviews with humans who could be famous or just popular, and answers to everything are on the agenda. Tune into OMTimes Radio and drop in on Thursdays at 3 Eastern. It's a different brand of enlightenment.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake. The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back, and thank you for listening to Intuitive Transformations on OMTimes Radio. Before we went to the break, I was sharing about the power of questions and how when you ask a question, you actually launch it into consciousness, and eventually the answer has to appear. So it really is sometimes about asking a better question. And the power behind this is to get a better understanding of what is blocking you from receiving more good in your life and stepping into more of what you can receive. So just keep in mind that the better the question, the better the answer. And this is one of the reasons that I personally stopped asking questions like why things were not working for me, or why isn't this working? Why can't this be different? Questions. I literally dropped the word why from the beginning of just about every single question that I ask. And it's really made a significant difference. I encourage you to do that. Now, keep in mind, I do want to make sure that you are able to take some notes because there's going to be 4 questions that I want you to write down later in the show that are going to help you get to some deeper understanding as to why you're not receiving more of what you've set intentions for, been praying for, been asking for. So please make sure that you have something to take some notes with as we continue. So instead of asking why things were not working kind of questions, I started asking things like, how can I make this different? What would it take for me to change this? And what about this must be playing in my favor or it wouldn't keep coming up? And I know that there are those out there, especially in the New Age movement and metaphysical community, that would say, well, what is my lesson in this? And I kind of let go of doing that as well because it just felt really heavy to me and weighty, as if I was on the, in the slower classroom for spiritual learning somehow, that I wasn't able to get what my lesson was supposed to be. So instead, I started asking, how is this thing serving me somehow? And I know that may sound counterintuitive, that having a lack of something might be serving you. But, we live in a world of duality where there's a plus and minus to everything. And so quite often we may say, yes, I really want this thing, but there's something inside of us on a deep subconscious level that would say, no, maybe not. Maybe something else has more value. The not having it has more value than the value of actually receiving it. And there's also a really big question that I asked myself that is really kind of big. It's a little convoluted, but it does kind of free up the energy around receiving really good answers. And that question goes something like, what is it that I am not understanding or aware of that if I did understand it would allow me to experience exactly what brings me the joy, safety, love, and harmony that I long to experience? I also ask, how is not receiving what I desire serving me, which I think I spoke about that just a moment ago. In other words, what am I making right about not receiving this that is actually keeping me from receiving what I'd like to experience? Because if we truly live in an ask and receive universe, then there must be something in the way. And just looking for the lessons hasn't seemed to really open it up for the mass populace. I see a lot of people out there that are very conscious, that are seeking, and they're not receiving what they feel that they should vibrationally be able to attract. And I think that this is a lot of what is the undercurrent beneath that. I know this is a strange way to look at this, but if you go back to the concept of cognitive behavior that I shared earlier, our beliefs are the foundation for what we experience in our lives. Therefore, there has to be something that I believed or you believed about receiving that has made it uncomfortable for either you or I to receive truly what it is that we desire. So I decided to ask myself what was making me so uncomfortable and stopping me from freely receiving from others. And this is a question I highly suggest that you ask yourself as well, especially if you have a hard time receiving compliments. So many women in particular have a really difficult time receiving compliments for their appearances, for even what they do. It's almost like, well, what I do is just, it's my life. Why would you compliment me on that? And we downplay it. And we're sending a vibrational pebble out saying, no, I don't need to receive. And those little opportunities to receive will open up bigger and bigger and bigger opportunities to receive. At least this is what I have found in my own life and also in the life of my clients. I was really surprised when I started looking at this, the judgments that I had about self-worth and value, and the clients I work with, they've been surprised as well, and how concerned that we become sometimes about how others will judge us if we receive, not really realizing that when we set an intention, how else can the universe give to us except through other people, right? So it's time we kind of get over that. So I have an exercise that I want to share with you. And it consists of just asking yourself 4 questions. So I'm going to give you these 4 questions. I want you to write them down and know that these questions are designed specifically to allow you to uncover some of the foundational beliefs that you are using to hold yourself back from feeling comfortable receiving from others. So when you write these questions down, I'll have you sit with these at another time when you have the opportunity to really ponder and contemplate them and think about what information they're bringing up for you. And that will hopefully allow you to unravel some of this and get to the root cause of some of your resistance that might be limiting your ability to receive. I mean, it's astonishing how many of us will argue with someone about who's going to pick up the check. No, not you, me, no, not me. It's kind of funny. And that is a sign of, I don't feel comfortable receiving. Vibrationally, that's what you're sending out. Instead, just say, oh, wow, thank you. That is so kind of you. I really appreciate that. You might be surprised that the root cause is actually meeting a specific need of yours to either experience safety, love, approval, or value. Those are 4 drivers that most of us make our decisions in life. We either want to feel safe, we want to feel loved, we want approval, or we want valuation. So here are the 4 questions. So write these down. How is not receiving serving me? And what I want you to do is, how is not receiving, and draw a blank line so that can be filled in, serving me. And in that space, what you can put is, how is not receiving compliments serving me? How is not receiving a free meal serving me? Whatever it is. The second question is, what am I making right about not receiving blank? What am I making right about not receiving a compliment? Because there's something within you that says receiving a compliment is wrong. So what are you making right about not receiving it then? There's always this polarity thing playing out. The third question is, what am I making wrong about receiving blank? So what am I making wrong about receiving a compliment? And then the last question, the fourth question is, who am I making right by not receiving blank, the compliment? Question 2 and 3 are similar, but you might be surprised that the answers will be different. Again, how is not receiving blank serving me? Number 2, what am I making right about not receiving blank? Number 3, what am I making wrong about receiving blank? And then number 4, what am I making right by not receiving blank? I know these may seem redundant, but trust me, it's very powerful because it helps to kind of dig out those subconscious belief systems. So question number 4, that last one, that determines who taught you what you would get. Who taught you that you would receive approval by refusing to receive? And I guarantee you that the answer will not be you, because refusing to receive is a learned behavior. As infants, when we come into this world, we are designed by nature to be in full-blown receive mode only, because we can't take care of ourselves as little babies, right? We can only receive. So allowing ourselves to receive is our truest state of being. And even as we come toward the end of our life, this also puts us in a time of pure receiving, typically. Allowing others to take care of us. So allowing ourselves to receive is our natural state of being. We learn how to refuse receiving in order to gain approval from others. And finding out where you learn this from is the first step to allowing you to unlearn that and release it. Because then you'll be able to look at it and say, does this really have value for me, even though it had value for them? Is this really working in my life to always say no thank you? Especially when you love to graciously give to others, especially if you are those individuals who feel depleted and feel like you are an overgiver. And you're doing a lot of this because you're seeking approval or value, self-value, or valuation from others. So I've had a number of clients come in lately working on self-acceptance, and this is a lot of the stuff that's driving that seeking approval from someone outside of who they are. And I started to take an even deeper look into the art of receiving, especially where I was experiencing lack in my life and where my clients were also experiencing lack in their own lives. I began to see a pattern of resistance when it came to receiving something for nothing. And that might just pull up a lot of red flags for you. What? Receive something for nothing without earning it, without deserving it? How could that be? There is an underlying sense that many of us have, especially those who are overgivers, that in order to receive, you have to earn what you receive, or rather be worthy of it. I want you to ponder that for a moment as we head into the break. And when we return, I'm going to continue this conversation with you about the art of receiving. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Welcome to the gathering around my kitchen table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
Time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
What if business could be fun? What if business is the adventure of living? What are you choosing? Where do you do business that makes it easier, more fun, or more joyful for you? We'd love to see where you do business. Connect with us on Instagram at Joy of Business or Twitter at Joy of Business, and share your pictures with hashtags BusinessDoneWhere and Joy of Business. Let's change the world with business. Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Hi there and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that break. Actually, I hope you enjoyed all the breaks and you had an opportunity to listen to the wide, ever-growing array of hosts that you can find here on OMTimes Radio. I love how OMTimes Radio is growing. They're adding more and more hosts with different point of views. And so I'm just so excited to see OMTimes grow into a fabulous resource for consciousness and for people who are seeking to evolve their own consciousness. And I really, truly hope that this show is helping you to gain some greater insight into what receiving is really all about and how you may possibly be blocking your own receiving by using the phrase no thank you far too often instead of just receiving what shows up in your life, especially if someone's there to offer an extra hand, whether you need it or not. Just practice the art of saying yes, thank you, and then also practice the art of gratitude for it by saying, yeah, and I would like more of this and bigger, and how can it get better? And notice what opens up in your life as a result. So before we went to the break, I shared the 4 questions I want you all to write down. Take some time to ponder them. How is not receiving, serving you? And really think about receiving something for nothing. Think about receiving something because you did not deserve it. I recently had a session with someone and they had said, I am all about giving people praise when it is due them. And I thought, I see some block to receiving going on here, because if you believe that praise is something that is earned only and can't be given to someone just because they are this beautiful being of light here on the planet, then guess what? It's going to be really uncomfortable for you to receive something really wonderful landing in your lap just because you're there, right? Even though we dream about that happening and we ask for that to happen. If it would truly happen, would that make you uncomfortable? Or would that make you super comfortable? You might be thinking, oh, of course, I would love that. I would adore that. That would be fabulous. But sit down and really ponder these questions. So I want to revise these 4 questions slightly. I want you to think about undeserving receiving. And I know that sounds really odd to say that, the syntax of it. But really, it's receiving something that you absolutely, positively do not deserve. And when you can get past this little roadblock, this will be huge in your life. It will cut out any envy or jealousy you may have of someone else, because all that is, jealousy and envy, is really looking at someone else going, why is it that they're getting it and I'm not? And it's really that vibration of, I know that I am just as good as them, just as smart as them, just as bright as them, but they're getting something that I'm not getting. And so it's that sense of they're getting something they don't deserve. And yet here I am deserving of it and it's not showing up. I know that sounds really convoluted, but I tell you, our subconscious mind is spectacular when it comes to contriving how we receive information and how we create things in our lives. And so if we have a very strong belief system that you have to work hard to receive what you get in life, then guess what? Something showing up easy without struggle or sacrifice is not going to feel good to you. You're going to reject it or you'll sabotage it. So I want you to revise these 4 questions that I gave you earlier. And ask yourself if this feels uncomfortable or comfortable. And again, the first question is, how is receiving blank, not receiving blank, serving me? And in that blank, I want you to write something for nothing. So the question's going to read, how is not receiving something for nothing serving me? The second question is, what am I making right about not receiving something for nothing? The third question will be, what am I making wrong about receiving something for nothing? And then the fourth and last question is, who am I making right by not receiving something for nothing? And those four questions will provide you with lots of insights, because any discomfort that comes up for you, any rub that comes up, if you're triggered by any of that, then there is resistance within you to receiving something for nothing. So if someone came up to you and said, you know what, I am going to give you this, I know I just met you, I'm going to give you this fantastic deal. I'm going to, let you stay in my condo just because I need somebody to stay there. They know where you work. They know all of that. You have some kind of a relationship, and they say, hey, I'm going to let you stay there for a full week. Part of you might go, okay, yay, if you really have a good, close relationship with that person, you have a friendship. But if it's someone you barely know, you might feel uncomfortable about it. You might not feel really relaxed about it. Or then again, go back to somebody buying you dinner. You're out at dinner with someone and you're having great conversation with them, and the bill comes and you had in your mind the whole time you were going to pay for your portion, or even still maybe even offer to pay theirs, and they say, I got it. How much resistance comes up in you to just allowing them to get the check and pay for it? If anything comes up, there's something there that is stopping you from receiving all those intentions you're setting out in the universe, everything you're praying for, everything you're asking for. And you might think, well, how is that related, this little thing? The way you do anything is the way you do everything. And going back to the cycle of cause and effect, if you're refusing little things in your life, vibrationally, it's the same. You're also refusing the big things you're asking for in your life. And this could be a major reason why they're not showing up. If we truly live in an ask and receive universe and not a struggle and receive universe, or a sacrifice and receive universe, then maybe it's okay to release the energetic belief that life is hard and then you die, and that you have to earn it, you have to deserve it, you have to be worthy of it. And here's the other side. If someone offers something to you, maybe it's not about you feeling worthy or deserving it or that you have to earn it, but maybe you're concerned that they might judge you for receiving it. Think about that and whatever that brings up. And if there's some kind of a rub when you think about it, there's something there that needs some further investigation. Asking yourself questions will empower you to uncover the things that are blocking you in your life. In particular, why receiving freely from others may make you uncomfortable, or why you tend to be an overgiver or an overlover. And by that, I mean, if you're the person that always says yes when someone asks you to do it, but inside you're going, oh, I really don't want to do it after all. What is driving that? All of that is prohibiting you from receiving more fun in your life, more joy in your life, more ease in your life. The happiness that you're searching for is being blocked by all of that. So if you have any questions about this show, I want to encourage you to go to the show page. There's a page about this show. This show will be in the archive at OMTimes in about 24 hours. If you go to OMTimes.com, go to radio, go to archives, you'll see this show. Or even if you go to OMTimes and the radio page and you click on where it says the shows that are listed and you select Intuitive Transformations, you'll see this show come up. And then at the bottom of this show, you can leave a comment. So you can ask me a question there and I'll answer it there. Or what you can also do is you can go to my website and send me an email. And from there, you can even go to my Facebook page. Now, here's what you can get if you go to my Facebook page. I'm giving you a little heads up. We only have about a minute left in the show, and I want to make sure that you get this. I'm going to let you practice the art of receiving something for nothing. It's kind of something for something, but it's really something for nothing. If you go onto my website, intuitivetransformations.net, and in the upper right-hand corner, you click on the Facebook icon to like the page, then what you're going to find is there's something new I'm starting, and that is that I'm going to open up an announcement saying, hey, I'm giving people who are on my Facebook page, my Intuitive Transformations Facebook page, an opportunity for a 20-minute free clearing session or a 20-minute free transformation session. And so if you get that and you respond, then you will get a free 20-minute transformation session. So this is because I want to encourage you to open up your ability to receive. And I know there's kind of something you have to do, but it's only because that's the only way I'm going to know who you are. There's no other way I'm going to know you or that you're interested in receiving this freebie if you don't click the like page. I have no other way of contacting you. So I want to encourage you to do that. And also I want to encourage you to make a comment about this show and let me know what you think about it. I want you to implement that exercise. Take a look at those 4 questions. Give me some feedback. What came up for you? I hope that this has been of interest. I hope that this has been helpful. That's really what I want to provide, is tools you can use to transform your life. So I'll be here again next week. I hope you'll come back and listen again. I'll look forward to connecting with you then. Have a fantastic week and know that you are loved and know that nothing but good things are coming your way when you're open to receiving them. Take care and have